Afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon once again. Welcome to the United Regional Chamber of Commerce's weekly updates. We try and bring you some interesting guests, some educational stuff each and every week, and hopefully you get to spend a quick 20 minutes, 25 minutes with us every week and learn about some of our local folks. This week's show, I'm happy to introduce Jen Dantuono from Homestead Senior Care. She's the general manager there. Jen, for many years, I'm not going to say how many, was the one behind the scenes. And when we called and said, hey, we want you on the show, she didn't want to be on the show at first. She's a little shy. But we got over that. Everybody, welcome Jan from Homestead Senior Care.
Thanks, Jack.
Tell us a little bit about Homestead Senior Care.
Well, Homestead is what we call a non-medical home care company. So we help seniors with their activities of daily living, things like getting a shower, getting a good meal, getting dressed, transportation, just about anything that you could think of that maybe your daughter would do or your son would do if they could and they were there. That's what we would do.
And it seems that if the family doesn't live close to the senior, that they can reach out to you to help with some of those daily chores or weekly chores. Is that right?
Yes, always. And we can give them some reassurance because so many times people just can't see what's going on. They have no idea. They know their loved one is having challenges, but they don't know what's going on. So we can we can connect the dots on what they're experiencing, and we can follow up with whatever they need us to follow up on. I've done things like, gotten a new cane for somebody that, the child didn't realize they were using something that was like maybe it was a trinket that they got on vacation instead of an actual functioning cane. So we can see those things and we can be their eyes and ears in the house when we need to be.
Yeah, because as we know, some of us seniors, since I'm getting up there myself, they're a little too proud to ask for help, or they don't want to be a burden to their families.
Yes.
And it's organizations like yours that can bridge that gap.
Exactly.
Like you just said, help the family stay informed while also helping the senior citizen.
Right. And I think even in these times of COVID, it's so critical that they have some human contact. I think that's the most important thing of all that we do is they have us to look forward to coming in every day. We bond with our clients and, there's somebody coming in, there's somebody that they know is gonna be there to talk to. They can reach out to the office at any time if they need additional help, if they're not feeling well. It's a really strong connection and bond that we have with our clients.
And you're right. During this COVID time, with everybody trying to stay away from the seniors and things, tell us how one of your, I don't know, nurse practitioners or what are your?
So our caregivers in the state of Massachusetts, they're trained by us or they come to us trained, but we still put them through some training to make sure that they have the ability to take care of the seniors the way we need them to. So we're hiring all the time. I think in Rhode Island, you have to be a CNA. Here, we can take people in and train them to help the elderly. We're non-medical, though, so there's a distinction there. There are things that we can't do that we call on our local VNAs to help us out with, things like wound care or, if there's any feeding bags or anything like that involved, we ask them to reach out and help us with those things. There's a line that we don't cross.
And that would be the same for medications, to make sure people don't get medications mixed up.
Yes.
If something has to be administered, while they're in your care, you do call the local VNA office. And we've got a fabulous one here in the Attleboro area.
So we can do med reminders, but the medications have to be dosed. So that's the line that we deal with. The medications have to be dosed out, but clearly when we walk in the house in the afternoon and we see that there are medications that were supposed to be taken that morning were forgotten about, then at least there's somebody that can jump to action and take care of that. That happens so often. I mean, it happens with me now. Never mind as people get older, it gets more and more difficult to keep track of,
Yes.
So.
And one of the things that I talk to a lot of my relatives and friends that are caring for their older parents. Sometimes they forget to eat too.
Yes.
They don't get the proper
Mhm.
nutrition. They don't get the proper meals, and that's one of the other things that your caregivers make sure that they get the proper nutrition.
Absolutely. We can shop for them. We can do anything from, a lot of them like to have a sous chef. So they enjoyed cooking, but it's a lot to stand on your feet that long and then do dishes and do everything else. So we do everything from making the meals to shopping for the food to, just assisting them if they still want to have that as an activity. That's a lot of fun for the caregivers as well. So.
Now, it's something you mentioned just a little while ago, and it's very important, especially now during the coronavirus time. But the mental health issue, seniors being isolated, being by themselves, not having any interaction, that's where your caregivers come in and help with that as well.
It's so critical. It really is. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to throughout this whole pandemic that say, my mom was doing so well, and then COVID just it feels like she's regressed, or they've gone backwards, and I know they're not eating as well, and they just seem depressed, and they don't have anybody to talk to. And those are a lot of the phone calls that we get. Those are a lot of the phone calls. And again, with the crew that we have, all of our caregivers, they bond really quickly, and they become really close. So it's a nice interaction.
Tell us a little bit about when one of your caregivers goes into a home. What preparations do they do themselves to make sure that they're protected as well as the senior that they're going to
Right,
help, that they're
right,
protected as well? What type of precautions are your folks taking?
right. So we provide PPE for all our caregivers, which would be gloves and the mask. So they're always masked when they go in. Um, we also we have them clock in via a telephony system. So everybody's used to answering these questions by now. Have you been in contact with anybody that's COVID positive? Have you had a cough or fever? Or everybody's getting used to those questions, and they're all asked of each of our caregivers before they go on a shift. And if they answer positively to any of those questions, then they cannot clock in. They call the office. We talk about what's going on, and if it's a concern, we're going to replace that caregiver with somebody else for that time being till we figure out what's happening. Now, that being said, everybody's got a real strong motive to work, right? We all have to make money. So we've taken away the worry. So by saying to our caregivers, listen, if you've got to quarantine, we're going to cover you, we're going to pay you while you're out. So, let us know what you're feeling. And they do. They really, again, it's back to that bond, and they know how serious it is, and they know how important it is that they be careful when they're in somebody's home. We find much more so than the family sometimes, that they're really, really careful and worry about how they're feeling. And, I saw this person and I think something happened with them, and, they're very, very concerned about it. So,
Well, it's so very important because you bringing folks from the outside into the home. That senior may not have left the home except to go outside, maybe in the front yard or on the
right.
back deck. And so they've been pretty isolated. And I've had the pleasure of working with Home Instead Senior Care for probably as many years as I've been here at the chamber.
Oh,
Um,
that's nice.
Yep, Deb Nichols and Spencer and
Yeah.
all the ladies over there have been fantastic. Whenever I've been over to even deal with some of the caregivers, everybody's so professional
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
pleasant.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's so very important, especially when you have relatives that are too far away to come on a regular visit. They don't know what goes on a day-to-day basis. Uh,
Exactly.
Now, I'm sure there's some legalities involved of you talking to a son, a daughter about their senior citizens. Tell us a little
Well,
bit about that.
um, we're non-medical, so we're really not talking about medical issues. We're talking about, their activities of daily living. We're talking about their concern, and it's all a very open-ended conversation. So they know that we're talking to their son, daughter, niece, nephew, whatever it might be. And we're not talking about medical issues except if there's something that they need us to watch out for or to help for. So it's up to them to disclose that information. we're going in, as I said, to take care of those activities of daily living, the things like if you're struggling to take a shower, we're going to be right there to help you. Everything from standing outside the door to actually doing the shower. If you're having trouble getting a meal together, we're going to do all of that for you. We're going to go shopping for you. We're going to make an errand to the drugstore for you. And not only that, we do a lot of fun things with our clients too. We take them out to eat, and we have a good time too. So, or the park, we do a lot of fun things with them.
And I know I don't live that far from your office. I see that you've got numerous cars and vehicles that you can take people out, and just get them out of that confined space for a short period of time. It does wonders for their mental health.
Yeah.
Give us
Even just to go to the hairdresser. I had a client who strictly had been going to the same hairdresser for 40 years, and that was what she wanted to continue to do. She lost her driver's license, and she, not lost it, but, decided not to keep it any longer. And that was our afternoon with her. Every Friday afternoon, she was used to going to see the same friends at the hairdresser, and they had their girl talk, and that was what she wanted to do. And our caregiver went with her and took her, and they had a great time.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Give us some tips or tricks, whatever it might be, for we're coming into the holidays, and I know there's a lot of talk out right now. Governor Baker's trying to get people to do more remote family gatherings because of Thanksgiving and Christmas. What are some of the things a family can do to prepare if they are going to visit a senior?
Well, I think we all have to be careful, right? So we all have to know we want to see this person. So we have to know, listen, this isn't the time that I'm going to go to a party this weekend, or I'm going to go spend it with, 8 of my friends having dinner, because I know at Thanksgiving, I'd like to spend it with my mom. So I'm going to kind of quarantine myself as best I can so that I'm not bringing anything to that loved one, right?
Right.
So in terms of being careful, and then, the numbers of people. So don't all pile in, don't all pile in. Just make sure everybody knows that if they're going to commit to go, they're going to commit to quarantine and commit to be careful before they do that.
Yeah, I as I mentioned earlier, I've got some friends who are helping take care of their parents, and I was just on the phone earlier today with a friend that he's only been able to visit his mother through the window.
Right.
Because
right.
he's worried about her health.
Right.
But as we get into the colder months, what are some of the other things a family can do to keep involved with a senior?
Well, sometimes that depends too. There are some seniors that are pretty savvy, and they have the GrandPad now, where you can actually make a phone call to them, like a FaceTime call to them, and have that face-to-face interaction. That's a really fun thing if you ever want to look into that. I know Home Instead as a whole is really looking into that heavily to see if we can have some more interaction, just some more face-to-face interaction, because like you said, it is hard with the cold weather coming, and people are far away.
Yeah, even for us folks who go into the offices or work, when we go home at night, that's all you got.
Exactly.
Seniors who've already retired, that's what they have to do all day long.
Yeah.
I get pretty bored. I don't know about you, but I certainly.
It is. So that's where a caregiver comes in. A caregiver can think of lots of things to do with that senior. Going for a walk, even if it's a little brisk, playing games. Maybe there's a hobby that person had that they can help them to accomplish. There's, the caregiver can kind of prompt them. And I find that a lot with people who have to take some PT exercises or, keep some movement going in the wintertime, that the caregivers can get them really hyped up about that and keep that going as well.
Did your caregivers keep them on their schedule for their PT?
Yeah. So we would get, if we get the information from the family or the client of what those exercises are, we'll work with them and say, hey, aren't you supposed to be doing that at least 4 times a week or 5 times a week? And let's do that together, and I'll make sure you're okay. So, yeah, absolutely.
And some of your caregivers have such patience, because I know as we all get a little older, we all get a little grumpier, and I'm sure there's a couple of grumps out there that are very unhappy right
That's,
now.
that's
And
true.
your team kind of brightens their day every
That's
time
the
we go.
truth. That is the truth. And they get very attached as well. You know, if somebody calls off and, you know, has a family thing to attend to or something, they're very worried and they call and they want to know what happened to that person and when are they coming back. And, you know, we can always replace the caregiver, but that attachment grows really quickly.
Right. Attachment, the friendship, you know,
Yes,
it's
yes,
it's really difficult.
yes.
Now, one of the things that we've been very happy to help you with, not partner, because you guys do 99% of the work. Tell us about the Santa to a Senior program.
The Be a Santa to a Senior is just something that's been ongoing. This is going to be our 16th year. And there was a lot of worry over the summer over what that was going to look like and how were we going to do that, because what we do is we collect from the community, and you help us get that word out too. We collect from the community for specific seniors, and we find those seniors by going to the adult daycares and the senior centers and getting that information from different people of where there's a senior who may, you know, this might be their only thing that they do for Christmas. And so we normal years would take those gifts out. They're specifically meant for that person. We find out what they want, and we ask the community to get it for us, and we bring it to them usually during a Christmas party or something that they have going on. So that was a real worry this year. And so what we decided to do, and we know that our senior centers are well aware of where those people are that are, you know, lonely or left out or have no family or whatever it might be. Um, and they know where they are. So we decided to move forward and get, instead of the actual gifts, to get some gift cards from the community and ask our senior centers to help us and our adult days to help us reach out to those people and give them a little surprise at Christmas and continue the Be a Santa to a Senior tradition. So, you know, the things that we ask for are probably like a Target gift card or like a Walmart or a Walgreens or Amazon or Dunkin' Donuts. You know, it could be anything that you think. And I just think that that's going to help those seniors, just cheer them up a little bit, and not to mention people in need throughout the year that, again, the senior centers are usually aware of, that they can go ahead and go buy things for that person that they may need and not be able to afford.
Right. You know, I'm going to share a little story of just myself. Quite a few years ago, when we started the Santa to a Senior program, one of the gentlemen who had no family left, all he wanted was an AM radio to listen to the Red Sox.
Yes,
And boy, I'll tell you what, I had to go to 3 different stores because you can't buy just a little
that's
radio
right.
anymore.
That's the
And I
truth,
was able
right?
to find an AM FM with a Weather Channel radio on it, and
Yes,
I didn't care. But he was just so happy. All he wanted to do was listen to his Red Sox.
yes, yes,
And so that brings joy to, you know, that certainly made me awful happy. And
yeah.
if you folks out there in the public would be so kind and so generous to reach out to Jan, reach out to Home Instead Senior Care, you know, with a gift card, 5, 10, 15, 25, anything like that, um, is very well welcomed. And believe me, there's a lot of seniors out there that don't have anybody anymore.
If you
And
could
this really
see,
makes their
I mean,
day.
I want everybody to be able to see the looks on these people's faces when you walk over and it was something that they wanted, and you walk over and you put it in their hands. And I've had people cry. I've had people just, you could just tell, it's just incredible. It's the most amazing feeling to see that happen. And we can't see it happen. We got to keep everybody safe this year, but we want to keep the tradition going. So that's the best way to do it. Yeah.
Well, we used to be able to have a like a Christmas tree, big drawing of a
Yes.
Christmas tree with ornaments,
Yeah.
and a lot of the public would come and they'd take an ornament because, you know, seniors so and so needed socks, or they wanted a sweater, or they wanted, you know, like I said, the radio,
Hmm.
and we get a pretty good response from the public and from our chamber members,
It's
and so that's one
amazing.
of the things we want to ask you to do today, folks,
Yeah. It's
because things are
amazing.
so crazy right now. Please consider getting a gift card. You know, if you need to, drop it off here at the chamber, or
You
drop
can
it off
bring
at
it,
the
you can
homestead.
bring it by to us at 555 Pleasant Street in Attleboro, or just put it in the mail to us. and we'll make sure it gets to a meeting, a senior that needs to have something.
And like you said, sometimes that makes their day, it makes their
Oh,
week.
not sometimes. It really does. It's an amazing thing to watch, and it's an amazing thing to experience. So,
All right,
um,
Jen, tell us how to get a hold of you.
so you can call the office at 508-222-0800. You can, if you want to look at our website, you can go to our website. You can get us by mail again at 555 Pleasant Street in Attleboro, 02703. I can't believe I finally remembered that. Um, and we'll get it done.
Well, if anybody out there watching the show today, would be kind enough to do that, again, reach out directly to Home Instead. Jan, call us here at the chamber if you need their contact information or their number. We'd certainly like to help, because it makes people's day. And when
It really
there's nobody else around, they don't have any relatives left, they feel so lonely. But you, your staff, your caregivers, they're the world to some of these folks,
They
and we
really
truly
are.
appreciate everything that you folks do.
And if anybody, wants to call me to find out if they have somebody that they're worried about and they want to find out about services, please call me. Don't feel like you have to have already decided to do it to call me. Call me because you want to know about it. I mean, there's not often in our life where we have to do something like that, to reach out to help an older relative or a friend. So a lot of people don't know what that entails, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have, and help you put something together, or direct you in another direction that might be a better idea. So please don't hesitate to call and ask about your loved one.
No, Jan and her team are a phenomenal resource for our area. Like she said in the offer she just made, give them a call if you have a question. If your senior relative is having trouble with meals, with their day-to-day activities, you don't have to necessarily contract with them right away.
Oh,
But Jan and her team will give you some guidance, and give you the right guidance. And they don't try to sell you anything. They don't try to sell you services that you don't need. They truly care about the senior citizens in our area.
right, right. And like I said, we can help direct you. We can also give you some ideas on some of the warning signs. I know a lot of people will say, oh, they really got confused suddenly, and I don't know what's going on. They were doing so well, and it was like overnight they were confused. And sometimes we can just say, hey, have you checked to see if they have a UTI, or go check into this. And we might have ideas that, again, we don't all face this very often in our lives with our loved ones. So any ideas we can help you with, we're happy to do it.
No, and folks like myself, I'll use myself as an example. I don't understand and I don't know some of those things. Where this is your world. This is where you deal with folks every single day. And there's things that I may not have thought of, my siblings have not thought of, because we've never been in the situation.
Right.
And that's where you folks have been such a phenomenal resource for all the communities.
Thank you.
Now tell us, what is your coverage area right now?
So we go all the way east towards Somerset, Swansea. We go through Dighton, North Dighton, Raynham, up to like Easton, all along the Rhode Island border there, up to Foxborough, Mansfield, and then all the way west over to Bellingham, Norfolk, Franklin, and those areas. Norton, Attleboro, obviously, North Attleboro. It's a pretty wide territory, and if we're not in your territory, we're going to get you to a home instead that is. It's going to be seamless. We're gonna hand you the phone number and say this is the home instead where you are, and they're all great people. They're all great people led by a great company. So happy to help. So you can call any home instead office, and we'll figure out where you go.
Awesome. Well, one of the other things I wanted to mention, and because you folks put on webinars and seminars all the time, with all the different issues that a senior has to deal with. So I recommend people go to your website, like their social media page, like their Facebook page, because you'll get alerts and updates on all of these educational programs, from Social Security to healthcare to mental health. They put something on at least every other week.
Mhm.
and it is very, very valuable information that,
Yeah.
again,
If you're on LinkedIn as well, you could do it on Facebook,
yep.
LinkedIn, anywhere that you have your social media. Homestead is really good about educating the public about different things and different ideas.
Well, Jen, it's just about the end of the show. I really appreciate you coming on. It wasn't as painful as you thought it might be. Um,
It's the leading up to it that's painful.
well, I thank you
But
very
it was
much. Tell us
fun.
once again, what's the best way for our viewing audience to get a hold of you?
So you can reach me at 508-222-0800. Okay.
And we thank you very much for taking the time to come and join us on the show today.
Thank you,
Uh,
Jack.
Folks, next week we're going to have a gentleman on to talk to us a little bit about Social Security and when you should file for it, what you should file for, what you should look for. So hopefully you can join us next Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Once again, I want to give a shout out to Dave Angel at AACS. He's always kind enough and very patient with me when it comes to these shows. And AACS has many, many other programs that you can see throughout the viewing audience. So again, folks, and I'm going to steal we had a gentleman come in the other day, and I'm going to steal his parting line to me. Thank you all once again. Stay positive, but test negative. Be safe, everybody.